You know, I have been long and patient about all of this, and this is something I really didn't want to make, but I've held back long enough of what I've been saying on Twitter and all that stuff, and I've had enough of it. Indi Hartwell deserves better. She does. And this video is probably going to be controversial to a lot of fans, because here's the thing. All I've ever seen on social media when it comes to Indi Hartwell is I always see people picking on Indi Hartwell. Taking a small video clip of her in NXT where Indi Hartwell tripped and fell, botching her pretty savage finishing move, where she tripped and fell off the ropes, and she was versing Lash Legend. That's all I ever see people talk about when it comes to Indi Hartwell. Mind you, that was the only time she's ever botched in an entire wrestling match. But the fact that people use this one single clip to basically say, yeah, Indi Hartwell's a trash wrestler. She's trash. She doesn't deserve a push. I've seen people laugh and make fun of the fact that, or people think it's sickening that she was NXT Women's Champion before other incredibly talented women. Like, I see it everywhere. Mostly all the time. People always post that shit about Indi. Like, oh, how she tripped and fell on NXT. Which, mind you, that was the only time she ever botched a wrestling move, and it drives me crazy. You're gonna use one simple move. You're gonna look at one simple mistake and say, yeah, that person is officially a terrible wrestler. And mind you, ever since that slip-up happened, Indi Hartwell's never been allowed to use her pretty savage finishing move ever again. She's never been allowed to use that finishing move ever again, ever since that happened. And it drives me crazy how Indi Hartwell has been booked so stupidly and so terribly. Like, she was booked way better in NXT than she ever was on the main roster. And you can't don't tell me you were one of those people. I saw so many people, even my friends, so many people were saying, Indi Hartwell needs to be on the main roster. She's been in NXT for too long. Get her on the main roster. She's ready. And look at how Indi Hartwell's career on the main roster has gone since then. Yeah, it hasn't been fantastic, has it? Has she ever done any... What's her highlight? What is... Name me Indi Hartwell highlights. Name me something that she's actually done on the main roster that is considered a highlight of her career since being on the main roster. Exactly. She has zero highlights. She has no big major highlights because Triple H has done her dirty. Called her up to the main roster while she was still NXT Women's Champion when he could have just literally waited. He could have just literally waited for her to be done with her reign as NXT Women's Champion and only then call her up. Like what they're probably going to be doing with Roxanne Perez. Wait until she's done with the title, then bring her up. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy how fans have been saying how Indi Hartwell was ready for the main roster, but yet she has done completely nothing on the main roster. She's been losing way more than she's been winning. Oh, but Mariah May losing one match in about 5-ish matches to Saraya is apparently considered to be Mariah May is a jobber. I mean, please, don't give me this bullshit. Indi Hartwell's been jobbing ever since she made it to the main roster. She didn't even win her debut match, as far as I'm aware. As far as I'm aware, she didn't win her debut match. She had a match with Rhea Ripley, and then after that, she was off TV for God knows how long, having matches on main event, and then all of a sudden, Becky Lynch gives her a match, and then all of a sudden people think Becky Lynch getting Indi Hartwell on TV was good enough, which it isn't, Indi Hartwell's still losing matches to this very day. And then randomly they turn her heel. For no explanation needed. No explanation, she's just now a heel. They explained it with Candice. They basically said, oh, Candice is just sick of losing, that's why she turned heel. Well, she's still losing, so that character change means nothing. If the whole character change of these two was, oh, they got sick and tired of losing, that's why they've got a new character change, or that's their new attitude, then why are they still losing? Why are they not winning matches? If the whole purpose of them being heels was because they got sick of losing, then why are they still losing? So really, it did nothing. Indi Hartwell isn't hateable. She's not someone you could hate. She's not someone you could boo. Indi Hartwell and Candice LeRae, they don't get their crowd reactions necessary. They don't garner any heel heat. Why should the fans care about them if all they do is lose? How can they garner heel heat?
Children's Panadol provides.
How can they garner heel heat? How can they garner heel heat if they can't even get a win? How can they garner heel heat if they're not stealing wins and cheating and cutting promos, finding ways to irritate the fans? They're not. Or they're just two bodies being thrown out there. And it doesn't help that they're consistently fighting Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, who are easily the most over women right now. Because they're never going to beat them. They'll never beat them. You got Blair Davenport, who hasn't been used at all. You got Tegan Nox, who hasn't been used at all. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic, but yet you'd rather waste TV time on Nia Jax becoming Queen of the Ring. I've seen it all. I've seen it all, and honestly, she's been on the main roster for like basically a year at this point, and Indi Hartwell's main roster run has been an absolute flop. And I hear it all the time from my friends. Oh, be patient, she'll get her time. It's all about patience. She will get pushed eventually. Oh, at least she's on TV. I hear it all the time. Oh, she's getting TV time, man. That's important. She's on TV. Yeah, I am happy she's on TV. But am I going to be happy that every single show I tune into, it's her laying on her ass? It's her laying on her ass, looking up at the lights every single week? That's gonna make me happy? This woman has lost to Maxine Dupree of all people. And I don't mean to be that guy, but losing to Maxine Dupree is way worse than Mariah May losing to Saraya. At least Saraya is actually somewhat of a competent wrestler. Maxine? She's still new. She's green as grass. People have compared her to Eva Marie, which I will say Maxine is better than Eva Marie, but still, Indi Hartwell has lost to literally one of the worst wrestlers on the entire roster. That being Maxine. You can't get any lower than that. And Triple H has the audacity to turn these two heel, Indi and Candice, without really trying to get them over as babyfaces. I mean, how the frick does he expect? What the hell does he expect? When you constantly have them do nothing but lose every single week, and you're not giving them good storylines to sink their teeth into, and give the crowd reasons to care about them, how the hell do you expect them to get over? You're not giving them anything to do. And now you're doing the same thing on SmackDown. Just having them fight the tag team champions, get their asses kicked, and do nothing. No character development, no storyline. You know, they mean nothing. Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn, they're the main focus here. They're the main focus because they're the ones that Jade and Bianca are feuding with. Then have Jade and Bianca fight them. Then have Jade and Bianca fight them then. Instead of just feeding Indi Hartwell to them just because you need to give them something to do on TV. Give Indi Hartwell something to do. Give her a storyline she can sink her teeth into. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It really is. It's pathetic. It drives me crazy that this company, who fans claim is so much better now under Triple H, which is complete and utter bullshit, because SmackDown was utterly terrible. I don't give a shit about Bloodline 2.0. I couldn't care less about the Tongas. I couldn't care less about Solo. I couldn't care less about Roman Reigns' eventual comeback. I couldn't care less about, though I'm happy that Apollo is getting TV time, but I couldn't care less about his feud with Legado. The only good thing on SmackDown was Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles. Good grief! Poor AJ and Cody carrying this entire show on their backs because everything else on SmackDown is utter trash. Because they can't have interesting storylines. Everything has to be about the Bloodline. The Bloodline is always main eventing or every goddamn SmackDown. They're always main eventing. Hell, not even Grayson Waller can save this show. And I love Grayson Waller. And besides, turning Austin Theory babyface is one of the stupidest decisions I think Triple H has ever made. No one is going to cheer Austin Theory. The guy is super unlikable. Indi Hartwell and Candice LeRae are not hateable. They're not heels. They're not hateable. And they're not doing anything to garner any kind of heel heat. I'm so sick of this. Triple H is not a great booker, and I have stood by this claim ever since he took over. But everyone likes to put him on a pedestal. Everyone puts him on a pedestal as if he's the greatest thing that has ever happened to WWE. Oh, he's the savior of WWE. It's better than Vince McMahon being in charge. And every time I complain about Triple H, I have a feeling people just think, oh, I prefer Vince's booking. No, I don't prefer Vince's booking. Triple H's booking is very identical to Vince's booking. He only pushes his favorites. Triple H only pushes his favorites. Everybody else, they can go to hell. Everyone else can go to hell. Everybody else can just, you know what? Screw them. If you're not a company favorite, you're not going to get pushed. And clearly Indi Hartwell is not a company favorite. I hope when Indi Hartwell's contract eventually expires, I don't know when it does, but I'm hoping to God when it does eventually expire, I do not want her to re-sign. I do not want her to re-sign. If I was Indi Hartwell, I'd be telling Triple H, I am only signing the dotted line if you can guarantee me a push, title runs, and more TV time, and storylines. And if he says no, then then Indy should tear up that contract and walk away. Go to AEW or TNA, or hell, go back to Australia and wrestle there. Because it's absolutely atrocious how WWE have completely shitted all over this woman since her NXT run. Nothing good has happened to Indi Hartwell since being called out to the main roster. Oh, but she was ready! She was ready for the main roster! Everyone kept telling me how she was ready for the main roster, but yet she's been on the main roster for about a year and has literally done nothing. She has no highlights, no memorable moments. She's a jobber. Indi Hartwell is a jobber. And that's really all I can say about it. Indi Hartwell deserves better. Indi Hartwell deserves better. And that's really all I can say about that.